Mr. Speaker, I rise today to speak about the devastating wildfires that are sweeping throughout the western states, and particularly much of California. Last week, we had over 22 wildfires at one time that were in various parts of California. And what once was a seasonal issue, now because of the incredible 4 consecutive dry years, seems to be year-round. Obviously, the drought conditions facing California played a big role in the ability to manage these wildfires. And the devastation that has occurred as a result of that has been great. These last 4 years have been among the driest 4 years that climatologists say we've had in 1,200 years in California and western states. Over 70% of California is facing what is considered extreme and exceptional drought conditions, which are among the highest categories that you can face under drought conditions. California is not new to managing wildfires. It's part of living in that state as well as in other western states. But these dry conditions over the last 4 years have made it worse. And therefore, we need to try to figure out different ways to address this. The Rough Fire in Fresno County, which is part of the county I represent, has burned over 140,000 acres. And yesterday, finally, we've gotten up to 67%. This fire's lasted over a month and has closed one of our great national parks, Kings Canyon National Park. Last week when I was home, literally ashes were raining on our communities. Governor Jerry Brown has announced a state of emergency for Northern California, and the Valley and Butte fires have been significant, affecting both Congressman McClintock and Congressman Thompson's district. Congressman Thompson has lost over 600 homes and threatening thousands more, and he has stayed there to protect his district and assist with the fires. At this point, the Valley Fire is only 30% contained. The Butte Fire has taken 233 homes, and as a result of these devastating conditions, these 2 fires, sadly, 2 firefighters have lost their lives and 3 civilians have been killed. 4 fires have been taken and hospitalized due to severe burns. We literally have thousands and thousands of men and women that are out there manning these fires. So the question is, what should we do about it as these numbers sadly continue to rise? Well, we need to better manage our forests. We need to help alleviate and cut down on the fuel that is there through the brush that has made these fires incredibly spread in conditions that we had never foretold in the past. Wildfire suppression and better managing our forests is a key to doing this. The funding that we provide for natural disasters like FEMA, for hurricanes and for earthquakes, ought to be the way that we fund to manage to put out these fires. We've exceeded over $1 billion in the U.S. Forestry Department's budget and have completely overrun our ability to provide funding. Currently, the U.S. Forest Service is using money that was supposed to be allocated for forest cleanup to prevent fires. Now, we're simply using that money to put the fires out. We must put our political differences aside and pass legislation that will alleviate this crisis in western states and in California as well. In addition to getting legislation passed to provide for putting fires out, we need to put legislation together that would, in fact, in the future, manage our forests better. In July, I introduced legislation with Congressman Valadale on Western States Water and American Food Security Act. This is a part of a longer effort to deal with this issue. This legislation is the first step toward passing a bill that can provide additional tools for California to manage the drought. This bill addresses a number of solutions to fix California's broken water system. They include improved operations governed by the latest science that allow us to move more water when water is available in the system, additional storage capacity, increased water recycling and reuse, improved water efficiency, and conveyance solution that minimizes the use of the ecosystem and infrastructure that balances the water needs for all of California. This is but one of the tools that we need to address. We have legislation in the House, we have legislation in the Senate. I hope this fall we'll be able to work together in a bipartisan fashion to pass this important legislation. Certainly these wildfires tell the public, and the public tells us, that we must do something about this. It must be a priority that we get something signed into law this year before the rainy and snowy season begins. And Lord knows we hope it rains and snows this winter. People in California, people in our valley that has been ground zero for the drought impacts, and people in the West want Congress to act. So I would urge my colleagues to take the appropriate action and pass much necessary legislation affecting drought conditions in California and western states. I yield back the balance of my time.